is Classic FM.
How has LSO changed in the nearly 8 years now since you took over as principal conductor?
LSO is a fantastic orchestra. It was fantastic orchestra. It will be fantastic orchestra. Although with me they played repertoire somewhat different, or even maybe quite different to even their very, very rich past experiences and repertoire they played 15, 20, 25, 30 years ago. Always was vast, big repertoire. But it is a focus, concentration on the works of Shostakovich, maybe more than any other, let's say, British orchestra, or maybe even other British or American or French orchestra. So we played most of Shostakovich symphonies together, some of them many times, and in many countries. We worked on Mahler symphonies and played them in London, but also outside. We recorded all of them. There is a box now which offers 9 symphonies plus the Adagio from the 10th symphony. And this is what LSO does regularly. I think every 5-10 years this orchestra records, if not all, but some of important Mahler symphonies. But it was difficult, and one can describe it as a brave decision to record number 8 in St. Paul Cathedral. It was also for me personally difficult to go and what you call take on a challenge to record 7th symphony, because of all 9 symphonies, this one was especially enigmatic for me. I didn't have any decisions which were complete, firm, and stone made. So I was changing from rehearsal to rehearsal, and the fear that this only concert we had in London will be recorded and it has to become a relatively good recording, able to compete with any other recording made of this difficult symphony, was somewhat frightening. But I was making very, very radical decisions practically the night before general rehearsal, and then just hours before the concert, and they were quite radical and unusual, maybe brave decisions which I had to make, and I am very grateful orchestra was completely focused and concentrated. So we got results from one concert. You face a lot of difficult tasks if you don't play 2, 3, 4 times. As some orchestras in America, they have 3, 4 performances a week. They record all of them. It's maybe easier to be safe before you say the CD will be out. And then comes, of course, our huge experience with Stravinsky, with Prokofiev. Yes, we recorded Prokofiev symphonies. That was more than 8 years ago, 8.5, nearly 8.5 years ago. We recorded all the symphonies live, but then we played them, and I believe we found a lot every time we touched any symphony, talking about 7 or even 8 symphonies, because number 4 has 2 versions which are quite different. They're quite different. Length and material, so they're quite different. Stravinsky, always interesting, and we did a lot of work on Stravinsky. Debussy, Ravel. At some point, Rachmaninoff, I believe we focused on Russian composers, but it is absolutely natural that sometimes we perform Electra in concert form or perform Act 3 of Parsifal. Also doesn't play so many Wagner operas, so I think it was interesting, maybe even enjoyable for the musicians. Unlike Mariinsky, which plays maybe 100 operas, so they focus on different repertoire. But,
yes.
But orchestra is ready for any score, practically any score. And for example, Electra was played with power and brilliancy and sensitivity, and I think it was the best proof that orchestra was ready to just do whatever it takes to deliver a very, very, very good quality. It's a fantastic orchestra, no question. And I think my work with this orchestra, especially with the string section of this orchestra, was maybe partly inspired or partly dependent of the qualities of the venue or venues where we play. I pay enormous attention to the hall where I will perform. Enormous attention. For me, the instrument musician has in his hands is important. The hall where we perform is important. So all my system is switched on to the maximum just to understand what one can do. And it's not so simple and sometimes quite tricky to figure out where you are making music, what's the best solution, especially when you rehearse in an empty hall and then it comes to the concert and there will be 2,000 or 2,500 people sitting there. It's also bringing some changes.